Yeah.
Meeting called to order at 6 o'clock prompt.
Yes.
We have a quorum and I'd like to welcome our new and returning members. Peter and Pete, it is nice to see you both around the table. All right, our first order of business is to accept the minutes of their May 7th regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion?
Great job by Carrie.
Thank you. Yep. Yes, we covered a lot of ground in that meeting.
Yeah.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I didn't catch who seconded that,
Peter,
sorry.
Peter,
Pete, thanks.
or are we gonna say that?
Peter.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
can vote to approve meetings, meeting I didn't attend, right?
You actually were in attendance.
I was,
All right,
I
that's fine.
was,
But yeah, no, it's fine. It is passed with
Okay.
your abstention.
all right.
All right, the next, visitor comments. Is there anybody that's here for anything that is not currently on the agenda? No? All right, then we will go to public hearings, to review our victualler renewal. Do I have a motion to enter public hearing?
So
Second,
Any discussions? All those in favor? Aye. All right, we are now in public hearing. It appears that we have victualers licenses that are complete for the Island Market, Sandcastle Grill, Island Made Treats, and the Community Center. That it looks like we're waiting on some items for the Dark Harbor Shop, Terratine Yacht Club, the Golf Club, Turkeys, and Big Island Grill. So,
Big Island Grill, so, but it's left on me. We'll do you another time.
what
Licenses.
what X's
Mark that
for
on the school.
checks?
it's a good question.
Janet, what is
Excuse me?
X's versus checks mean?
That's Dave Dyer. I can't control how it just means that it's in. It's all. The best one is the check on the right column, far right.
Yeah, so I guess the question that I have is, well, are there any substantive changes in any of the applications?
No. And all the permits say, I don't think I have a permit in front of me, but you have they're on the front of each application.
Yep.
That, we don't give it out unless they're complete when we receive the water sample or the state license, and we issue the licenses to those people.
Okay, so what you would like for us to do tonight is ideally approve the slate, probably less Big Island Grill until we get that material, but do you you'd like to approve the slate pending complete applications being received?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I should be able, I mean, I can probably do this within a week. I just haven't had it in both the longer to do so.
is there does anyone else have any questions?
why is there 5 for the Dark Harbor Shop? Or not the Dark Harbor Shop, the Quarantine Club.
Yeah, they come.
Does he have something 2024?
Oh, you know what he did? I've got 5, I think he.
Do you
screwed
have
up.
5 of somebody
I have
else?
5 of turkeys.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've
When
got
he-
5 golf restaurants, who wants to trade for a dirt?
Okay, I'll take one of mine and
I'm
pass
gonna speak to Dave about collating.
one of yours and pass them. Thank you.
Here we go.
I was sitting there and I'm like, wait a second, who's got a front page of anything?
I say, I only have front pages, I don't think I have,
Yeah, that,
I don't have any of them.
yeah, here's William Warren, here's.
Well, now, yeah.
I say the only Sandcastle Grill.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah, we're doing.
Yeah, so
Take one
here's,
pass down.
take one of those and pass it down.
Okay, I have,
They're the same thing as mine.
Yep.
All right.
okay, so now I have Dark Harbor Shop.
I think this collation was above his pay grade.
I didn't follow up on it. I can't micromanage copy.
I got still 2 Terratines.
You know,
Yeah, hey,
Who's missing the Terratine?
Steve, you need 2 Tarantines, you need Tarantine not and Tarantine Ball.
Yeah.
Yep, I need Pan Castle.
I have a Sandcastle.
We'll send that one as well.
Does anybody have island made treats?
I do not.
I do not.
Sounds like a card game, like old.
I
They
do
look like the
either,
playing cards.
I don't feel like I received any, oh wait, no, no, it's me. It's me.
Is there any look of shock on my face?
No, I have island markets.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's a good one.
Mhm,
Yes, to this way.
mhm.
If we have more than one, do we get a discount?
Thank you, sir. Okay. So I got the
Still
market.
looking for the tree one.
Treat and community center are the ones that are missing.
Let me see.
Oh, I have them.
Oh, yay!
Wow.
Do we check the packets up there and see if the?
So we do that.
I don't,
But I only have island made treats.
7, 8, 9, right?
Okay.
6, 7, 8, 8 right now. Steve is still working on his.
Take one and pass it down. I think all three, yeah, these are all island made treats.
5, 6,
That's it.
yeah, so we are still missing one, which.
community center.
Community center.
Oh, okay, she's got it.
Where are you?
Mhm.
Well, we just want to show further how we work.
Oh,
Be
very.
nimble, you gotta be adaptable.
And I'm the one that reads. I think it's really confused very easily. Great, community center. And island made treat. Fantastic, thank you guys.
Here's, I've got doubles over here.
Okay.
Island Market, we don't go to Island Market.
Island made treats.
Yep.
Like that thing.
Okay, so we have 8. 4 of them are complete, 4 of them are pending a couple of small details. Do we have any further questions?
Do we want to approve the ones that are complete at this time, and then next meeting we can do the ones that are pending?
Normally you do them all, and it, like it says on that, number 2, you know, as soon as we receive
Right.
Okay,
the information, then,
because everything's just pending the water test, right?
yep, and one
Okay.
needs a state test.
Any further questions in public hearing? All right, then I would say let's exit public hearing, since we can't make a motion in public hearing.
Second,
All right, we're out. Because we make a motion.
Sorry, I thought we had to make a motion.
Right, no, so I don't really know how to leave, but, so I'm declaring us left. All right, now that we are back in regular meeting, do I have a motion to approve the 8 licenses currently in front of us pending completion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions, discussion? Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. So. Next up are updates, and while we each need to go through and sign 8 of these, but while we are doing that. Perhaps we can ask Peter Wilcox to start us off with the ferry service update.
Okay, so what I have is a general update on the ferry service. It was last fall that Bruce Van Note announced that all the ferries overnighting on the islands would in future overnight. In Islesboro's case, that would mean the ferry would overnight in Lincolnville. The reason for doing this included crewing needs and charging of the new hybrid ferry battery. This was done aggressively when Van Note stated that if we, the Ferry Advisory Board, did not go along with it, he would lobby for us to lose our 50% state subsidy. Crewing needs were cited before the question was ever asked of the existing ferry crews. When the union finally did a survey, 1% of the crews said that they would not work on the ferries if the current arrangement was changed. The charging issue got thrown away when Scott DeGrasse found out from CMP that they would install one more wire from Mill Creek Road to the ferry pen, bringing the service up to sufficient capacity, and that is on their nickel, so it cost us nothing. At the North Haven Select Board meeting of April 2nd, which is available on YouTube. Their note stated that plans had changed and only the Islesboro Ferry would be expected to move. Then on April 29th, the Transportation Committee voted on a number of bills to be brought up. LD 1231 passed unanimously and said that ferries must remain on the islands unless the legislature passes a law saying that they do not. Because this passed the committee unanimously, it is expected to be voted into law in the future. Details of other bills are available on request. It was at this hearing that Van Note shared his white paper. The hearing was the first time that anybody had been able to see the paper, meaning we did not have a chance to comment or read it. Among the inaccuracies was the notion the entire ferry service only serves 2,700 persons. It is estimated that Islesboro's summertime population alone is almost twice this. But what was most interesting to me was the fact that Van Note said in the white paper, it's time for MOT to stop running the ferry service. And my personal feeling of that is if we can't do better, then we shouldn't be alive. Latest word from Lincolnville is that the Magny will be back tomorrow. This is indicative of the information coming out of Rockland. The shore crew in Lincolnville found out only from Captain Rod returning from sea trials. As to the emergency ferry task force, that's it for the ferry service, what I have. In the emergency ferry task force, we're going about with our plans to write a report regarding the shifting of the overnight berthing to Lincolnville. This means the installing of a wave buoy south of Lincolnville very soon, which has been approved by everyone. It will be there for a year collecting data. And we are guessing that this report may be needed in the future.
Can we make a few comments? The one point that you did not include, Pete, which I think is really important, is that it's not only the increase in the population created by summer population, it is over 100 workers who are coming over here every day on the ferry and going back in the evening. So the misrepresentation in the commissioner's letter white paper that it was only servicing 2,700 people is wildly inaccurate. And I think your committee or somebody else pointed out there are 88,000 trips on the Islesboro ferry alone per annum. So that if it's only the 573 people the commissioner feels he's serving, it would mean that they would spend their entire life going back and forth. I mean, it's really ridiculous. And furthermore, I would just say that no other community in Maine is the number of residents compared with the amount that the Department of Transportation is investing in roads, other municipal facilities. That's just a bogus comparison.
Well, the thing that I found most interesting was his saying it was time for the MDOT to stop running the ferry service.
Yeah.
Well, right. And my understanding is that there was a bill that was modified to do a study that would look at the structure for how the ferry service is run. That bill was pulled by the chair of the Transportation Committee before it hit public hearing. Which I think was largely a political move. And at least tables that discussion for now, although it will be interesting to see if and how the commissioner brings that forward in any way to the Ferry Advisory Board.
Yeah, in my opinion, the Ferry Advisory Board is some kind of cloud. It doesn't really do anything. We don't really do anything. We don't vote, we don't have any control over what happens. And yeah, there was a bill suggested that it be changed, but really the whole ferry system now has to be reworked. Or it might be.
Right, well, I think at least. Having that be mandated by the legislature is not, no longer, so I think it would require. The commissioner to. Work it with the. Advisory board to keep that conversation going.
Okay.
Because that was a bill that he was trying to get enacted to, have a study formed by the, by a committee formed by the legislature, which they declined to support. Which I think is a good thing for us in the long, in the immediate.
I think it'd be good to see how they, to your point, how they do react. Because politically, that'll indicate if he got slapped or not, you know, some of the. So that's, I think, important to watch the next.
Yeah.
Reaction.
Yeah.
Cause then we'll kind of know if we have some champion somewhere else helping us.
Yeah.
Influence.
I'll point out that Casco Bay just had its first fare rate increase in 14 years.
It was a big one, I think they're in shock.
So it's 14 years.
Right.
They tried to do it last year and the regulation committee shut it down and said that no, that they couldn't do it. And so, but now it is passed. Is that correct?
It was, yeah, it
Okay.
was just,
Yeah, I think so.
My other question, and I might just be behind on the times on it. Bill Geary used to be the director of the ferry service. And then he got promoted up and they were saying that they were still trying to find a director of the ferry service. Do we know? I know last I knew, he was still interim. Have they found somebody for
My
him?
understanding is he's still interim. We know that the one person who used to be director of the Main State Ferry Service didn't even get an interview. And as far as I know, they haven't closed the interview process. The other thing I should point out is that the Ferry Advisory Board meeting that was supposed to happen, I guess, last week, got canceled. Maybe 4 or 5 days before it was supposed to happen, with really, as far as I'm concerned, no explanation. I mean, they gave out the excuse that, oh, it's because Bill Geary's on vacation. But I expect there's other ideas behind that.
I will say, one of the things that there was a lot of discussion about at the transportation committee. Was the lack of transparency that the DOT operates around the very advisory board, that there was no interested parties mailing list, that they're always sort of standard answer is if you want information, it's available on the website when it's not really available on the website. So it will be interesting to see if they will improve notice of their meetings and minutes or video of the meetings or that kind of thing.
The Ferry Advisory Board meetings are recorded, except for the one where Bruce spoke last October and proposed this whole thing. That one, for some reason, and interestingly enough,
For some reason.
a fellow member of the Ferry Advisory Board recorded it on his iPhone. And the first thing you can hear is, this meeting is being recorded. But yet it's claimed that it doesn't exist.
Next up,
The tapes.
in 18 minutes.
Any other questions for Peter now?
Good recap, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, moving on to sea level rise, our committee meeting is tomorrow at 4:30. No further updates, any questions?
Are you planning on sleeping again?
I know, I hope we end this meeting in plenty of time too. All right, municipal building project update.
Oh,
You have,
Oh, yeah, if you want, sure, you can have it.
thank you.
I see there are stones in the ground out front there, so for the municipal, I don't really. I haven't heard anything else other than what was said Saturday, there's the. Kind of the open house, kind of the ceremony gonna happen. There's additional move-in stuff, so I really. Didn't have anything on that, that's all I know, what we heard Saturday. I do have the next line item, when you're ready for that.
Yeah, cause I thought Lauren had emailed us and said
yeah,
that
she
she,
doesn't have much of an update. She just wanted to make sure that people had the 19th on their calendar.
yeah, and I think everybody's, and this is going, it's going out in the box holder, and I think I gave you all.
Yep.
Miss Linda has,
And I know Lauren suggested that, perhaps we didn't need this as a standing agenda item anymore. I am okay with removing it with the caveat that I think it would be helpful to, keep. I'd like to keep getting updates on the renovation here too for Fred's space. I just wanna make sure we don't lose track of that. And I don't expect that there will be necessarily weekly updates, but I think just having it as a standing item until we have all three projects. I'm happy to have one bullet point, all three projects combined, when there's an update on movement on either one. Great, if the update is no update this week, that's great too. Does that sound
Yes,
reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, is Lauren continuing to be involved with the upland garage and so on?
well, so she asked me about 4 months ago, she's chairing that committee for the. Health center, and she asked if I would take over leading the Up Island, so
I see,
she's still involved and she's on the committee, but I'm taking the lead on that.
because it's obviously important that we are on top of that.
Yeah,
will you give us an update?
that's a segue.
Show us how on top you are.
I have help, no. So at last meeting, I had stated that we couldn't continue with this kind of delay. I talked to Mark, and Lauren on the, just the length of time it was taking from, hey, we spent money till we don't have a contract, we don't have final drawings. We will have final drawings from Mark to Rod at the latest Friday at noon. So, then Rod will have to redo his quote. There's some adjustments on some cement, depth of cement in different areas, things, there's minor changes that, he's gonna have to look at, to provide the final numbers, cause he'll have the final quote. The quote does include, everything that Rod would need to go to get permits, the federal permits and the other ones, so we should be. We'll have everything done from that aspect. I'm gonna push Rod to see if we can't have his final quote for the next meeting, but I can't guarantee it until he sees how much he has to change. Excuse me. So. But I feel like we're finally getting to the point where we've got the information we need to finalize the numbers and get a contract. I also talked to a couple, Mark and Janet, did I send it to you? I sent something, Lauren, I'm trying to get the contract vehicle, the actual blank contract that we want to use. They felt that the health center's contract was way too, I'll say elaborate, too extensive for this type of building, but there's a contract that I'll see tomorrow, that I'm gonna maybe ask Pete to be able to shepherd bidding a vehicle for contractual, and then the last part we'll have to do is take that along with how North Point wants to be paid, and so we'll have a contract that's standardized, and the addendum or whatever to that would be how we're gonna pay him on deliverables, because I wanna make sure he wants to be paid, I think, bi-weekly. And we wanna make sure those are tied to certain deliverables, so we're, have a nice chain on that, so, that's the update on that aspect.
Any questions? All right, hearing none, upcoming meetings and subcommittee reports. Got planning board June 4th. Civil Rise tomorrow. Is there any subcommittee report if anybody wants to?
Housing on June 5th.
Great. Um. Town managers report.
All right, I've given you the minutes of the April 25th Grimmer Point Lighthouse Committee meeting. Under correspondence, I've given you the flyer about the open house. And the guided towards 2 different dates. The new June 1st ferry pricing. Rates. And I had heard from Bill Deere that the Margaret Chase Smith was coming back Friday, but this tomorrow, that's even better. So under new business here, that advice, the chair and vice chair elections, treasurer's disbursements, and the Sundog Solar proposal, and has anybody spoken to you about the actual contract? I don't see the actual contract in here. I did email Harriet. It's a proposal, but there's nothing here per se to.
Yeah, no, I thought she was forwarding it directly to you. I have not seen a contract.
And I didn't hear,
They won't have one until you get the bill.
Okay.
So
so,
we will.
okay. Did you want to set another date for the committee chair meeting? On my file, since the last time we met, might have been November. And you said meet again in 6 months, but I wrote September there, but that's more than 6 months. Maybe I was thinking the summer was not a good time to.
Yeah, I would say if we can avoid a summer meeting, let's do it in September and
Okay.
that would be great.
All right,
I think we have a better turnout too.
Yeah.
yeah, we all have recovered by then. And I'm working on getting a company to do some striping on the lines at Grindle Point for the parking. It's the company that's coming here to stripe our parking lot with the new lines. We're gonna have diagonal parking. And they will be here. I think the pavers wanna come next Tuesday. See if they can get on the ferry. When he's coming. He's bringing stuff over Sunday, but they won't come Monday, but Tuesday he was trying to get on.
Cool.
And that's it for me.
Questions for Janet?
No.
All right. Any other correspondence?
I was contacted by Dennis Smith. I don't know if that would be a good idea, when a good time is to ask his question. If that would be correspondence, or I asked him.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering if any progress has been made with his immigrations related policy push. And what I told him was that I haven't heard beyond what he knows from our last meeting, but I think he would appreciate us following up on that at least a little bit. It says tell him that it's either stagnated or it's gonna.
Yeah, I would like to add it perhaps maybe to our next agenda to kind of finalize the discussion where I can give you an update from the conversations I had with Fred.
Honestly, that alone is probably good enough, but we're gonna make sure it's up. If he's got something, I'd love that more.
No, well, I did have a conversation with Fred. I know that he, it sounded like was willing to put language in his, procedures. However, he did some research in talking with folks in the
Other departments.
other departments and within the county. And they did not have any suggested language, and so he sort of kicked it back, as I understand it.
There's a state going through about it, directed to.
Yeah,
This language.
yeah, I mean, I think it hasn't necessarily passed yet, right? I think it's still working its way through the legislature, yeah.
I just, that's part of why Ben reached out, I think, because he must have heard the news about it, and they're like, oh, what happened with ours?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think. Uh,
Isn't the bill that's going through the state to request that local law enforcement cooperates with federal investigations though?
The one I'm reading about is about state troopers and sheriffs, not, you know, they're not getting involved in these investigations.
Okay, there's
There might be
two that's going through. And so, cause there's the counter to that one that is requiring that Maine will, or that municipalities will cooperate with the investigations and try to trump anybody stopping it with the news of Bangor and them trying to work theirs through. They haven't,
Right.
Bangor hasn't been able to find their verbiage yet either.
I mean, part of me, so I'd like to have another conversation with Fran before the next meeting, because, part of me says, based on the feedback that we've received from our attorney, it seems like perhaps the language that has been drafted could be sufficient for, his manual that provides him some protection, but doesn't require anything further than what he's currently doing. I'm not sure what his, so I wanna gauge his level of comfort
Oh,
with
of
that
course,
for,
yeah.
and it could be that. You know, maybe we end up tabling the issue until the legislative process is.
Sure.
Sorry. Hold on, this.
I apologize. Hold on. I might have jumped the gun. I nominate Shay to maintain her chair position in her rightful spot with her gavel to beat. Thank you. I'm like, somebody throw.
I was gauging the reaction. It's like one of those, like, hey, wanna run for school board, like. Oh, don't go the second there.
Shay, would you accept?
I
the nomination?
am willing to do this for one more year.
Okay.
All right.
All in favor of Shay staying
Aye.
as chair? So I don't know if you can do it yourself or not, right? So it's that awkward moment.
Yep, all right, all in favor? Aye. Shake his
Opposed.
flat.
Shay's
I'm
abstaining.
saying,
Yeah, we're holding on.
all right.
Did you abstain?
Sure. Where really do I get to?
I think you can vote.
Right. All right. Nominations for vice chair.
I would like to nominate Kate Anderson for vice chair.
Other
Wait, how much
nominations?
falls the room? Love it. I would accept, do I have to accept it before I get seconded? I would accept the nomination.
Great, second.
All right.
Any other
We're gonna
nominations?
vote on it again in the year anyways. So if it all goes, if it all goes
I would
down.
have to behave.
You have to come. Work.
I was going to nominate Steve, but I am perfectly happy to have Pete be vice chair. What is up to you?
Hey, Steve, let's make it interesting.
Do you guys wanna fight over it?
Steve, would you accept a nomination?
I would not accept, but I don't want.
Would you say I'm not? I would not.
I would.
Oh.
No, you said I would not accept.
I
I
would
was like,
accept, but I don't wanna, I'll go with what the flow.
Someone else will for it.
that, no, it's a yes or no question.
It's a yes, I would accept the nomination.
So shall we have voting? Do you want secret ballots? We used to do that, but.
No, I think that if we're gonna vote, we do it in public. All in favor of Pete Anderson?
Wait, she runs.
I was gonna say-
does she-
Oh, yeah. Duh, I'm sorry, you're back in charge.
Yeah.
This was my
Even a 30-second window where
I
they-
like this though, cause I kind of wanna vote yes for both. It's not
Oh,
really.
you did do a full vote.
I like transparency.
No,
I can do a paper vote.
no, there's no sense in doing it. This, no.
Just the weirdest spot.
I was gonna say, basically,
Five
it's Peter that's
favorites.
gonna.
Does somebody need to second that second nomination?
Oh,
Okay, thank you. Is there a second for Steve's nomination?
Sure.
It's not the big right choice.
I will say, just anecdotally, I'm the new boy on the block here, but I did hear at the town meeting, several people say that we should be trying to get younger people involved with the select board, so. In that sense, I'm not, I heard you're a great experience here, so. That does seem.
What am I, the young boy or?
That means I'm finally not the young teenager. 20 years, I'll take that then. Anything to get that out of order.
Well, anyway, I know that I was disqualified.
All right, all in favor of Pete as vice chair? All right.
Ta-da, unanimous.
Cool, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Well, I got nearly as excited as I. I do like the seat, but I don't have to worry about moving up and down anymore. Somebody sits here and lowers the seat. Sort of makes me think I've gotten shorter in the past 2 years. I don't feel like I'm going any crazy than I already got. So.
Congratulations, Pete.
Congratulations. All right, next up, annual policy on treasurer's disbursement warrants for employee wages. This is something that we need 2 people to sign every week.
I'm still happy to sign.
Excellent. Is this every week, every other week?
Every other week.
Oh, clearly I'm not the one that does it.
That has been my one big job that I've had since I've been on the select board. I'm happy to
Very
still do
good.
it.
I would nominate Melissa to continue in that capacity. Is there a second person that is willing to serve that? In that role?
I nominate Peter Rothschild.
I have absolutely no idea what we're talking about.
That's okay, just say yes.
Sure, yes.
It means you have to come in, is it always on this Wednesday or is it the
Yeah.
other Wednesday?
This
Well,
one.
the day of the meeting. That's when Melissa.
What
does
if
it.
you're in Bucharest? Then,
If I'm in Bucharest, then you sign.
oh,
If you're in Bucharest, I
Okay.
sign.
Alright.
But only one of us has to sign and
Yeah.
I see. Okay,
I don't
great.
think I've historically missed a meeting, so.
Okay, so we've got Melissa Burns. All right, so we've got nominations for Melissa and Peter. Any discussion or second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I was losing all control here.
We just gave it to you. Come on.
Sorry, you got to take over, Pete.
Pay attention.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
getting, you just,
I
I'm
have a
getting.
47 waiting.
All right, all those, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
I,
All right, sign one of the squares. All right, next up, approve Sundog Solar proposal for the health center solar panels. So the Energy Committee received a number of different responses to the solar.
somebody else, that's fine.
Yep, pass it along. And they are recommending Sundog Solar. I think that they came in as the lowest bid, but they also had a number of other benefits for their proposal and are looking for select board approval. Do I have a motion to approve having Janet enter into a contract?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Yes. And do we have? We don't have anything to sign for that.
No,
That's-
I don't either.
Great.
So when I tell,
Yeah, because I know that they are anxious to get it done, because I think it was under a 5-day time crunch or something.
I've seen that several times. And it's dated March.
If they run into a situation where we've approved it, but the contract they receive is drastically different than what they're expecting.
Then
We expect
Janet,
them to come.
different than that, then Janet can say no and take it back to them and make them come back with something new.
Preferably within 5 days of select board meeting. All right, no other business. Next up is approved warrant number 24.
So move.
Any questions, discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Right. It's your packet. We have an appointment for Kathy Kerr to join the Energy Committee. Do I have a motion to support Kathy's appointment?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Great. I have my only comment is just I'm really looking forward to working with this group again for another year.
Yeah.
Before we do final comments, can I ask one question? When will we go through the list of what Lauren's committees were? That way we can reassign them out
Oh,
and potentially reassign some of the ones that we have.
Yep. we'll
Can that
look
be
at
on the
that.
next?
Yeah.
Can that be on the next thing? Thank you. Like, how no more ask it. But basically, I'm just really wanting to throw Mr. Rock out in the water, so. I give you all the committees.
I've signed more things today than I have in the last.
Okay.
Actually, Melissa, that is one question I have. I am a little unclear about the select board's participation on these different committees. Are we voting members of the committee? We just ex officio.
Yes.
So in fact, I am now a member of the Sea Level Rise Committee. I will become ex officio.
Not
No.
necessarily, because I'm technically ex officio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
So
my
you can
question.
still, you can still be a member of a committee,
Yes.
but you can't be a member and the ex officio, is my understanding.
So
And
somebody else has to go to both of us or
Yeah.
on this other.
We can fight for. I'm happy to not vote.
Not an option. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
a little unclear about that.
Yeah, at our next meeting, we'll go through the list of all of the committees that and assign. To be thinking about what committees you're interested in.
I think it would also be good if everybody kind of revisited the committees that you currently chair. That, because there's a couple of them that I have, that I feel like I'm not, I feel stagnant in them, and I think that somebody else could possibly do better if they go in and they have it with the clear eyes. Housing. Somebody else, I will swap housing for somebody else, okay, we will do this like a card game.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not contributing as much as I could be. And so if somebody else has a desire to be on that one, I'm happy for it. If somebody else is in the same boat with one of their committees, please feel free to bring it up and let me
I
know.
think it'd be a good start to just get a list of everybody's committee assignments.
Yeah,
No, you get to keep.
we will have that ahead of our next meeting, so you can look at all of the fun options for you. All right. Pete,
Yes, ma'am.
comments?
No.
As our vice chair.
I don't know. Thank you. I don't have any.
All right, Melissa?
Congratulations,
It looks like I
Pete.
should have something.
I put all my faith in you. I like to do.
My brain has been working overtime. Really thanks.
Thank you for not nominating me.
You're quick with a draw, you're like.
That's why you're.
I have sat on this board for a while. I know how this goes. You have to draw quickly. You have to aim precisely. I came into this with a
And now
plan.
she's turning down my trade for housing for broadband. I
Mm.
don't know how I feel
If
about
I'm taking broadband, you have to take two of
All
mine.
right, this negotiation happens next week,
that.
2 weeks.
Another
Bring it back.
All right, as,
Oh, come on, it's your first meeting. You have to have something.
Well, there are a couple of things that I wonder if we've ever considered. One is, our actual, the selectmen's involvement other than the emergency ferry committee in lobbying, expressing our opinions about both the direction that DOT is going, and it's a very high priority that I would like to become more involved with. I don't know if that's your housing.
My buddy.
committee, but how we facilitate the expansion of that, I think, is fundamental. And the other issue I think that I've come across recently is just the whole question of how do we attract magnet students and make ourselves more attractive, our school more attractive, since I think that when during COVID, the population in the school was over 100, and now it's 65, and I think that is absolutely a fundamental issue confronting our community. So those are my only directions that I think are fundamental. And parking at Grindle Point, don't forget that.
Well said.
Yes, we do need to talk about that. All right. With that last word, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Woo!
Oh, study it.
I studied it.
Oh, you did?
Study it again.
I'm not going to Lewiston.
No, I wouldn't.
Or Vienna. But they say there's